When Jennifer Connelly appeared on Jimmy Kimmel Live, fans expected a quiet, elegant conversation about her recent sci-fi project and perhaps a few laughs about Hollywood life. She's always carried herself with class, grace, and calm composure, rarely making headlines outside of her films. But what unfolded on stage that night blindsided both the studio audience and millions watching from home. The conversation veered suddenly, then sharply, into a place neither Jennifer nor viewers anticipated, and by the end of the segment, the beloved actress would be seen walking off stage mid-show, her face unreadable, leaving everyone stunned. It began smoothly enough. Jimmy introduced her with warmth, the crowd cheered, and Jennifer walked out in a sleek black dress, smiling politely. They exchanged a few lines about her role in an upcoming series and her experience filming in Iceland. Jimmy cracked some jokes about the cold, and she laughed gracefully but briefly. The mood was easy, professional. But things shifted when Jimmy brought up a past project from over a decade ago, asking why she distanced herself from it in interviews. "I just didn't connect with the story in the end," she answered simply. "That should have ended it." Instead, Jimmy pushed. "Wasn't that the film your husband produced?" he asked, referring to Paul Bettany. Jennifer paused. "Yes, but that doesn't mean I have to love everything about it," she replied, her voice still composed but cooler now. The audience chuckled nervously. Jimmy smiled, perhaps sensing a chance to press further. "So, is it weird at home when you say, 'Hey honey, your movie sucked?'" he joked. Jennifer's lips tightened. "I don't speak to my partner like that," she said. The mood dipped slightly. Jimmy, either missing the cue or ignoring it, kept going, and that's when it began to unravel. Jimmy then asked a question that made everything worse. "Do you think your career choices now are more about supporting your spouse's work than your own legacy?" The audience reacted audibly as some gasped, others went quiet. Jennifer sat up straight, her demeanor shifting from gracious to clearly offended. "I've worked for over 30 years. She replied. "Every decision I make is my own. I don't reduce myself to someone's shadow." Her voice was calm but icy. Kimmel raised his hands in mock surrender, smiling awkwardly. "Hey, just asking what people want to know." The tension in the room had spiked. Jennifer looked toward the audience, then back at Jimmy. "Well, maybe they should be asking better questions," she said. The crowd clapped, some loud, some hesitant. Jimmy laughed it off, but it didn't land. Okay, let's not get too serious here," he said, trying to shift tone. But the damage had been done. Jennifer remained rigid in her seat. She gave short, measured answers to the next few questions. Jimmy tried to joke about fashion or her kids, but she barely reacted. The dynamic had soured, and viewers at home could feel it. Something more was building. Then came the final straw. Jimmy pulled out a printed tabloid cover featuring Jennifer from years ago, one that had circulated during a particularly rough chapter of her personal life. "This was wild," he said, holding it up. "You remember this week?" Jennifer looked at the photo, her expression unreadable. "Why would you bring that up?" she asked slowly. Jimmy laughed. "Just reminiscing. You know, Hollywood stuff." Jennifer leaned forward slightly. "That was a really painful time," she said. "It wasn't funny then, and it's not funny now." The crowd went dead silent. Jimmy looked down, finally realizing he'd crossed the line. Jennifer stared at him for a moment longer, then calmly said, "I think we're done here." She removed her mic, stood up, and walked off stage without another word. The audience gasped, then murmured in disbelief. Jimmy sat frozen, unsure what to say. A producer ran into view, waving for a commercial break, but the camera lingered a few seconds too long. Jennifer's silhouette could be seen disappearing behind the curtain. The moment hit the internet instantly. Clips exploded across TikTok and X. The title "Jennifer Connelly Storms Off Kimmel" trended worldwide within the hour. The online response was immediate and fierce. Some praised Jennifer for holding her ground with dignity. Others criticized Jimmy for taking a cheap shot for laughs. Media personalities weighed in on YouTube, analyzing every word and gesture. Fans shared older interviews of Jennifer's grace under pressure and posted quotes defending her privacy. The clip circulated endlessly as her final words before walking off became an instant meme. "I think we're done here," was quoted, remixed, and used across posts ranging from political satire to commentary on workplace boundaries. It wasn't just viral, it was cultural fire. Backstage, sources claim Jennifer left the building without speaking to producers or crew. Her publicist declined interviews, but one cryptic Instagram story later that evening featured a black screen with white text, "Protect your peace, always." That story alone was reshared over 5 million times. Meanwhile, Jimmy Kimmel's team released a brief statement saying, "We regret the moment escalated. Jennifer is always welcome on our show." But the apology felt generic, and many online commentators felt it lacked accountability, especially because the clip clearly showed how far Jimmy had pushed, and how composed Jennifer remained throughout. Over the next few days, the fallout continued. Journalists debated whether late-night interviews had become more exploitative than entertaining. Other celebrities, from actresses to musicians, quietly liked and shared posts supporting Jennifer's reaction. A few even admitted on podcast interviews that they too had experienced uncomfortable moments on shows but hadn't walked off as something they now admired Jennifer for doing. The moment ignited a larger conversation about boundaries in media, women defending themselves without anger, and the performance of discomfort for ratings. Jennifer's silent exit said more than any on-air fight ever could. By the end of the week, Jennifer did one thing. She published a short op-ed in a major publication. "Sometimes silence is the strongest answer," she wrote. "When dignity is tested, you have a choice: either to stay seated or to stand up and walk away." The piece didn't name Kimmel, but it didn't need to. Her words were measured, powerful, and deeply resonant. It went viral all over again. Professors cited it, activists shared it, commentators praised its tone. She never attacked, she never blamed, she simply stated her truth, and the world listened more closely than if she had shouted. Meanwhile, Jimmy's reputation took a hit. Other past clips resurfaced where he'd made uncomfortable jokes toward female guests. Though many still supported him as a comedian, a new wave of criticism mounted. He addressed the Jennifer incident again, this time with more humility. "I messed up," he said in his monologue. "I tried to be funny, and I wasn't. I pushed too far, and I regret it." Some accepted the apology, others didn't. The comment section was divided, with fans split between defending the format and calling for a more respectful style of interview. Despite the controversy, Jennifer's popularity surged. Her social media following exploded. Fans revisited her films, shared her quotes, and even organized the Jennifer Strong online campaign celebrating poise and professionalism. A particular moment from the walk-off, her quiet removal of the mic, became symbolic. TikTok users mimicked it in skits about quitting toxic jobs or ending one-sided relationships. That quiet move, elegant and firm, had become an act of defiance, not drama. Jennifer Connelly, often seen as understated in Hollywood, had made one of the loudest statements of the year without ever raising her voice. Later interviews she gave were carefully chosen, long-form discussions on platforms that value nuance over sound bites. She was open, thoughtful, and entirely at peace. "I don't regret walking off," she said in one. "I regret that it had to come to that, but I'm proud of how I handled it." Her fans agreed, and even many critics had to admit she showed a masterclass in setting boundaries without losing composure. In an industry where temper tantrums often make headlines, Jennifer's silent stand became something more meaningful. It was restrained, and it resonated across generations. In the end, the clash with Jimmy Kimmel became more than just another viral moment. It sparked dialogue. It shifted expectations. It reminded people, especially women in public life, that it's okay to leave the room when the room no longer respects you. Jennifer Connelly didn't storm off in rage. She walked away with purpose. She didn't demand attention. Attention followed her. And in an age when entertainment often comes at the cost of dignity, her quiet departure spoke volumes. She walked off stage not just from a show, but straight into a new level of admiration and cultural power.